is my temple. Your tears rinse my feet. I walk out, I'm able to carry your peace. It reminds me of a song that I heard long ago. Maybe I've always known that you were right there. A simple melody playing over and over in my dreams. But somehow out of reach, eluding me until I release. You come close to me when I release, and I let you take the lead when I release. My heart starts to see when I release. When I release, you said, come
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? We are live. We're here in the Lion's Den. It is Tuesday night, and that means it's the Young Lion Podcast, where I'm here with my brothers, and we're going to talk about stuff that's going on in the world today. Shout out to everybody who is tuning in. If you're on IG right now, I see you. What's up, Roop? I see people jumping in on there, man. Make sure you guys drop a comment in there, because we're trying to get the IG live stream to work with this setup and everything. So if you're on there right now, just let us know you watching. Hit the like button. Drop a comment in, let us know where you're checking in from, and join in on the conversation. Everybody else also, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, man, jump in there and say what's up. Share the video, hit the like button. You are watching Young Lion TV. Let's go.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and start fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding. Young lion.
Yep, that's right. Young Lion TV. We are live. This is 100% live, everybody. We do this every week on Tuesday night, where we just talk about stuff. You know, if you've been watching the clips and you see the type of stuff that we post, this is where all that content comes from, because we go live and we talk about it on here. A shout out to Liz Ash 2480 on IG. I see you in there. She said hi to everybody. I see Jeffrey, one of our Patreon members over on Facebook. Shout out to Jeff over there. And make sure you guys drop a comment in. But yeah, Young Lion Podcast, this is where me and my brothers and my mom, we come together every week, and you know, some of our other friends and stuff that are men that we respect and we honor, that are in our circle, that we come together and we talk about ideas. We talk about things that we've learned in our journey of life, you know, as husbands, as fathers, as brothers, as sons, and as followers of Christ. You know, things that we've learned and things that we've kind of broken away from and learned from along our path. We talk about those things on our podcast here, and we also talk about stuff that's going on in the world and give our little takes on them. You know, a lot of those clips have gone viral. So, you know, if that's something that you think you want to get behind, hit that like button and share this video. Let everybody know that we're live right now, because the algorithm does not like what we talk about. So we need you guys to share it, because they definitely do not suggest us to people. Sometimes we can't even find the live stream. But on top of that, if you want to support in other ways, like I mentioned, we have Patreon members that will come on and watch and support what we do, because, you know, we do this every week. And, you know, we want to try to keep it going, because it is definitely, you know, time consuming, and it costs a lot to keep this thing going. So if you guys want to support that in any way, go to our Patreon, patreon.com/YoungLionTV, become a member. And for as little as $3 a month, you can support what we do. And it's so dope to become a part of this community, because we really look out for each other. We you know, get together sometimes. We have events. We invite people out to our shows. We got a show coming up on Thursday, by the way, if you're in the Philly, Jersey area, at City Winery, Philadelphia. Come see us Thursday night. There's a few tickets left. It's going to be a dope show. You can come see us live over there. Other than that, I got to shout out my brothers that are with me this evening. If you look to the other screen, well, I gotta adjust this for IG, because they can't see y'all, but now you should be able to. So if you want to shout out to my brothers over there, and if you see at the top of your screen, that's my big brother, but he's everybody's big brother. He goes by the name of Jacob Eugene Evans. And at the bottom square right there, he is the coolest Asian in the world. He's rocking the Young Lion merch right now, and he's got the Young Lion book bag behind him. That's looking pretty dope back there. He is Mr. Chang Sim.
The Khmer way to say it.
Yeah. I gotta represent. And of course, we got holding it down on the production side. She is our mother, and we love her. She's the best producer in the world, Miss Angelique Lopez over there. Shout out to her. Put some thumbs up in the chat for my mom producing, learning the skills. See, boomers can learn technology. You know, we have you know, some issues sometimes. We have some issues sometimes, but boomers can learn technology. It's not too hard for them. You know, she's getting it down. Oh, and also I always forget to introduce myself. So we've been going with the light skinned bearded guy that looks like every light skinned family member you have, and also Conor McGregor. It's funny because we had a video that we posted up. It was from the video from South Africa. Did you see? Have you seen it?
No.
The video from us performing in South Africa, and in the comments, there was a whole thread of people being like, I swear this was Conor McGregor on stage. And then a bunch of people comment under it like, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, what's Conor McGregor doing on stage? I'm like,
You look nothing like Conor McGregor.
I know. It's just a guy
You
with
look nothing like Blake Griffin.
a guy with a beard. Yep. Blake Griffin was just a light skinned dude. Because I get Steph Curry too.
Do you?
Yeah.
You look nothing like Steph Curry.
Not like Steph Curry, but I get that too. A lot of Elisa's friends at school used to call me Steph Curry. But yeah, so my name is Jamie Evans, and I am the host / navigator for the clips and the live stream. So again, guys, if
Happy
you're
birthday too, dude.
Oh yeah, just had a birthday. Yeah, on Saturday. Just had a birthday on Saturday. That was dope. I'm actually, celebrating with my little birthday cake right here. This is my birthday cake protein bar that I got for the live stream. So I didn't eat nothing, but so unpack this. Man, these Quest bars are good.
I do like Quest. I like
These-
I like the cookies too.
Yeah, I thought this was the cookies, the pack of cookies. I like those better. These are the bar, like the candy bar.
I never had their bars.
The candy bar I'm not a fan of.
No.
I thought it was the. It's actually erythritol. So, yeah, it's not sucralose, which is it's better. But yeah, had a birthday. Feeling excited for the show we got coming up, and it's gonna be a good time on Thursday.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to our other members who are not here right now because James is busy doing some work, so he couldn't come tonight. So shout out to James if you're watching, and also our Black Batman who hasn't been here in a while. He is Mr. Stan Golden, not here right now. We just got who just said something. Okay, somebody just sent something. Shout out to whoever that was. We got people watching on Rumble. Oh, we got Theris on YouTube. Shout out to Theris. What's up over there?
So apparently, like, all the seats in the front are gone.
Oh yeah, that whole section.
Because I got a text from Ashley. She was like, "Your show's all sold out." I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. There's seats in the back."
Yeah, yeah. The front section is sold out, but the back is still open, so you can get some seats in the back. But yeah,
we I think Jess got a couple of her teacher friends coming,
nice.
so it's gonna be good. I have a great feeling about this.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good show, man. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I was working on the all the stems balancing last night and getting everything solid for
Nice.
Working out all the kinks.
Nice.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
I saw that post.
Yeah, you gotta content. You gotta put up content. All right, but anything y'all want to talk about before we get into some stuff?
Nope. Let's get into it.
No.
Nope. Okay.
Nobody wants to hear about
Han
weekends.
Dynasty.
Huh?
How was Han Dynasty?
Oh, Han Dynasty was good, man.
I wanted to come, but I already had plans.
Yeah.
You want a last minute me? You know what I mean?
Bro, that wasn't me, man. It wasn't me. Okay.
It was good.
Yeah.
It's always good every time I go there.
Yeah.
I think the last time I went there was with you, actually.
Oh, shout out to Theris for sending in stars over on Facebook. That's her sending that in. Yeah, she's going to be at the show. Jeff's going to be at the show. Courtney's going to be at the show. Bunch of the Patreon members will be there. Emma, another Patreon member, will be there.
Nice.
You got to. We know Mom is going to be there.
No, they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, Mom's going to be there. So. Yeah. But other than that, let's get into some stuff. Hold on, let me find the first set of things I want to talk about. Because it's a lot going on. So you sent the thing about what's his name? Dr. Phil, right? Jake?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dr. Phil's been having a heck of a week, man. He's been on a tear this week. I think because he got a book. He got a book coming out.
He was on Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah, he was on Rogan. He was on The View. He was on a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna play some of those clips coming up in a second.
Didn't see on The View.
Yeah, so that's the first thing I'm gonna play. He was on The View and kind of like schooled them a little bit. It was funny because
How hard is it to school them, though?
it's hard when you've seen other people try to school them and how they act. You've seen how those women act, man.
It's they're pretty delusional over there at The View.
Yeah. So let's play this clip real quick.
Came on, and kids they stopped living their lives and started watching people live their lives. And so we saw the biggest spike and the highest levels of depression, anxiety, loneliness, and suicidality since records have ever been kept. And it's just continued on and on and on. And then COVID hits 10 years later, and the same agencies that knew that are the agencies that shut down the schools for 2 years. Who does that? Who takes away the support system for these children? Who takes them away and shuts it down? And by the way, when they shut it down, they stopped the mandated reporters from being able to see children that were being abused and sexually molested, and in fact sent them home and abandoned them to their abusers with no way to watch, and referrals dropped 50 to 60%. So
There was also a pandemic going on, and they were trying to save
They were
children's
trying to
lives
save
as
kids'
well.
lives. Remember,
You see? You see how
They were trying to save kids' lives.
they go right to the heartstrings on them. They were trying to save kids' lives.
we know a lot of folks who died during this. So it wasn't, people weren't laying
Not
around
school
eating
children.
bond, but, well, you know what? We're lucky. Maybe we're lucky they didn't, because we kept them out of
Look at Dr.
the
Phil. Giving her the eye, bro.
She said, "We're lucky that we didn't lose school children because we kept them out of schools." No, that's not why.
the places that they could be sick, because no one wanted to believe we had an issue.
Are you saying no school children died of COVID?
I'm saying it was the safest group. They were the less vulnerable group, and they suffered and will suffer more from the mismanagement of COVID than they will from the exposure to COVID. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact.
Well, Phil?
Gotta go to commercial after that. But you see how, like, you know, they want to push back. They can't not. Dr. Phil's one of them.
Yeah.
So they want to like him. But something happened. I don't know. In doing his research for this book that he's putting out, he came across a lot of information that really woke him up. And I think he's going on all these shows and he's saying things that they didn't expect.
Yeah.
Because now he's talking about, you know, this stuff, talking about the lockdowns were wrong. He's talking about the border, the things that he saw at the border, which we're going to get into next.
Yeah. It's interesting that so many people talk about bias, like, you know, but they're really biased.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening a lot. We're recognizing how biased we are in terms of how we judge people. Because I'm not a fan of Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Or his show. Yeah.
But you got to recognize, you can't, just because it's somebody that you might not agree with a lot of stuff that the rhetoric or whatever, you got to see, is it the truth?
Yeah.
And that's how you know, like, do you care about the truth or you only care about the truth when it benefits you?
Yeah.
know?
Or when it works towards your narrative.
Yeah. How you feel or what's, you know, what you want to see happen.
That's what I saw with all this. It was like, because Dr. Phil has said a lot of things that I disagree with, but it's not about that. It's about, all right, but he wasn't saying it because he was trying to lie. He was still being honest with how he felt. And now, and the integrity that I see now is that he's doing research and finding out things that are making him now want to speak a different truth, you know, which is respectable. And it's funny, like watching them feel like they have to, they have to say the talking points.
You said a different truth, though. What do you mean by that?
I know it came out. It came out wrong.
No,
When I said it,
all I thought was my truth.
I know. When I said it, I was thinking like, there's no such thing as a different truth, but yeah, clear that up. He's speaking. He's speaking a different truth than what they approve of.
Right. Right.
But it shows you that he's being honest with what he believes is the truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's not being. He's not just saying things to, push a narrative, or he's not giving talking points. Mm-hmm. They probably had their producers in their ears telling them, "Oh, you got to push back. You got to, people died. People died." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, people died, but don't forget, there was a lot of finagling with those numbers. There was a lot. The flu disappeared. There's so many things that we have yet to understand that
flu disappeared, heart disease disappeared.
Yeah.
Cancer disappeared.
Right. Every death was a COVID death.
Yeah.
So then he's on Joe Rogan, and you sent me the YouTube short on it, but I had the clip already, so I'm just going to play the clip because it's easier to play. So he went to the border. Oh no! First, I'm going to show this one before we get to the border stuff because that's going to take us into more stuff. Okay. He was talking to Joe about how he found out that China, and I think we've mentioned this before on here, is buying up a ton of farmland in the United States, and just buying land in the United States. China is doing this.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
How is this even possible? So let's play this clip. Show this real quick.
I've then dug into what's happening with Chinese buying, the Chinese government or Chinese nationals buying farmland, and I've got a map, if I can find it, of where they're buying this land, and it's around U.S. military installations. They're buying up land around U.S. military installations, and so when you look at the amount of land that they're buying, not all that much. It's a lot of land, but given as much land as there is, it's like maybe less than 1%. But when you look at it strategically around military installations, it's really concerning. And then when you look at what's happening at those military installations that they have land around, like B-2 stealth bomber training, drone training, and all, it's very, very troubling.
God, it's so strategic where it's all placed.
Yeah, if I can get a hold of that map and show it to you.
It's kind of crazy that the United States has been invaded. And when did that start? With the purchase of farmland?
Did y'all see that there was another weather balloon?
No.
Weather balloon, they called it, that they shot down this week?
No, I didn't.
Another one, yeah.
That's concerning that they can just buy land. Chinese nationals, and the government can just buy land that easy.
Here, we can't buy land in China.
Yeah, that's very concerning.
Like, how is that even a thing?
It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how is our border a thing?
Yeah.
How is our border issue a thing?
Things that shouldn't be a thing.
That's true. All right, let's keep going.
It's been going on.
For how long? Like when did so this is talking about Sun owns 40% of Chinese-owned land in the U.S. He owns over 100,000 acres of land in Valverde County, Texas. Although his two companies, Brazos Highland Properties and Harvest Texas, through his two companies. His purchases in 2016, 2017, his plans to build a wind farm, as well as his purported ties to Chinese military, drew scrutiny in Texas several years after his acquisitions. He ultimately was denied permission to proceed with his wind farm plans. So they own the land, but they won't let him proceed with the wind farm.
Yeah, and they're building a wind farm where it's not very windy. But it does butt up against a strategic military installment.
What a coincidence. This is the best land that was available.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So,
how would that be possible here under logical laws? Because in China, you can't do that. They're smart. You can't just buy their land.
We absolutely cannot buy farmland there.
No, you can't buy their businesses either.
Now, we had a man on talking about this, a farmer, and he said they also own the grain elevator where we sell our grain. The Chinese own that. The Chinese government owns that. So, and I said Chinese government. Chinese own that. Now, is it the government? Is it a government agent? Who owns it? He said it's Chinese owned and controlled. If they decide to stop buying his grain, I said, what happens? He said, well,
fucked.
We're out of business.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
How I'm confused. How is Dr. Phil looking into all this stuff? Like, what is he?
I don't know. I didn't watch the whole Joe Rogan interview. I want to go see it now because he's speaking on a lot of things. But he said that he was writing this book, and I think the book is like something like "We're in Trouble," something like that. But he was writing this book about because the things that have been happening over the last few years started to pique his interest. So he started doing research into stuff, and then he started to discover all of these things that were concerning. And so he started writing this book, and now he's basically going on all these podcasts and going on these shows and talking about the things that he discovered. Because this next clip we're going to show how he talked to people at the border and found out that they were smuggling in children. Yeah, and to him, it was like...
That's the one viral clip that I did see.
Yeah.
Of him being on Rogan talking about, we're pretty much funding sex trafficking.
Sex trafficking, yep. And he actually talked about that on The View as well. And you'll see them attempt to try to combat him a little bit, as they do. You could pull this up too, Mom.
Southern border. Now, you're saying that you're going to give people facts. What did you take away from that experience, and what kind of reporting are you going to be bringing back from that experience?
I'll tell you a fact I took away. I talked to the head of all the border guards down there, the head of the union. I asked him straight up, kids are coming over the border with numbers written on them, phone numbers and addresses. Do we check those out? He said, well, we call them. Is it possible that we're sending them into known prostitution rings or sweatshops? He said, it's not possible. It is absolute. We are using American tax dollars to ship children into known prostitution and sweatshops.
Some children.
Well, who knows?
Okay.
We don't know. I said, are you...
So what kind of checking do they do? So
They call the number and say, do you know about this child? They say, yes. Will you receive them when they come? Yes. I said, is it possible that that's a prostitution ring? He said, we know enough to know that in a number of cases, it has turned out to be absolute sex ring. It has turned out to be an absolute sweatshop. I said, how is this possible?
Well, what do they do?
And he said, it is happening.
What do they do then if they know that that's happening? Where is the U.S. Attorney's Office? Where is the...
Here's the
good question,
you
isn't
have
it?
You have to re-ask that question.
That's right where we got to go to commercial, baby. That's right where we got to go to commercial. Exactly. Where is the U.S. Attorney's Office? Where is the Department
But that's
of Justice?
why even these type of shows are becoming pointless.
Irrelevant.
Because you can't even hash out anything out. It's just talking points, and you never really get into anything.
Once it get a little bit real,
they go to commercial. Yep. Every time. And they have,
and it was Whoopi.
Yeah.
Both times.
Well, Whoopi is the moderator, so she's always the one.
Probably got a little piece of their ear, like,
absolutely, she
Whoopi,
does.
Come on.
They've said it many times, and when they're interviewing certain people, they're telling me this, they're telling me that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's absolutely how. And you don't think someone's telling them like go to break? You know what I mean? And that's the funny thing is like they're asking these questions. This is how you know that they're so uninformed on things is they're asking these questions. Well, where's the Department of Justice? Where a lot of times they're facilitating this stuff.
Well, that's what the other clip kind of talked about that between Trump and Biden, like things just broke down.
Yep. I'm going to show that clip right now. You can pull this one up now. This is when he goes on Joe Rogan, and like you were pointing out, now Joe Rogan, he can go on and do a 3-hour interview, and they can really dig deep into these topics. He's playing clips. He's showing stuff. He showed where he interviewed the guy from the border, and you get a little bit more detail. That's why Joe Rogan gets millions and millions of streams.
That are coming in with someone that says, I'm their mother, aunt, uncle, or whatever. We have no way of verifying that.
We do not. We used to. Under President Trump, we had rapid DNA testing. That's been done away with.
Are they given...
You heard that?
Why is it been done away with?
I think it's because they would rather not know.
That money, the money's that we got the money.
Yeah.
Why are we cutting that?
Well, they're not cutting it. They shifted it over into giving everybody debit cards now and flying them, putting them on planes. But like, wouldn't you think it would make sense if someone just walks over the border and says, "This is my child"? All right, we got to do a DNA test to verify this. That would only make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because anybody could be trafficking anyone's child over the border.
If you're playing that card where we care about people making a better life, for themselves.
Yeah.
Don't you think that you want to know that this child is not being kidnapped or sex trafficked?
Absolutely.
Or going into a sweatshop or a slave shop or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, as we can see, most of these politicians, they come out richer, right?
Yep.
So how are they playing this game? Like, to me, it seems like a lot of these guys they work more like the mafia, or like a cartel than the actual government is supposed to be working.
That's interesting you said that, because I was watching the president of El Salvador. You know how he's changed that country around? He's rounded up all the criminals. Now they got the lowest crime in the entire Western world.
He was talking on CPAC. Right?
He was talking at CPAC, and he said that he watched as his country, in a matter of 10 years, devolved into what it was because the gangsters, the criminals, had gotten so powerful that they had their own shadow government, basically, where they had all the politicians paid off. They were more powerful than the government was. And that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, these cartels have so much influence, so much power, so many people are paid off that they can maneuver these things that way.
Yeah, I mean, well, you've seen, I'll say allegedly, because we all know the stuff that's well, not we all, but we know a lot of this stuff is true, but hasn't really come out. But like the whole Clinton Foundation, a lot of these foundations,
Haiti,
are just covers
absolutely,
to bring money in. A lot of these diplomatic backdoor deals that happen.
Well, we had the clip go kind of viral on UNICEF, where you were talking about how UNICEF was facilitating some of the most amount of pedophiles and offenses against children in the world.
Yeah.
Like 3,000 cases or something like that.
In the cover of helping.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these foundations, you're recognizing, that's what they're doing a lot of times.
Yeah.
I've seen those movies, about Vietnam, why they really went into Vietnam, because it's a big opioid.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's true, but
I mean, a lot of them soldiers got hooked on heroin in Vietnam.
Yeah.
That was the first time they tried it. Shout out to Stan. He's on Rumble. He said helps that he moved out of New York too. I think he's talking about Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
That's why he kind of ended up on a different wavelength.
Shout out to James. He said, "What up, boys?"
What up, James?
Greetings, guys. Emma said.
What up, Emma? We'll see you on Thursday.
And Jeffrey said, "My guess is the Chinese migrants coming across the border are going to make their way to the lands." I mean, there are a lot of male, military-aged men
coming across this border. Courtney said, "Happy Tuesday, family." Shout out to Courtney.
What's up, Courtney?
We'll see you on Thursday, right? Okay, let me bring this back up. Hold on. Okay.
Money, these people that are released into the country.
So it's our taxpayers that ultimately facilitate the travel. But yes, travel is facilitated and they are given all the necessities that they need.
But that could be a trafficker.
There's a very good possibility that they're being trafficked, that they're going into the sex industry, or they're being forced into the sweatshops.
And we know that. We knowingly are spending our tax dollars to sell children into sex trafficking. How, under any theory, is that okay for us to be spending tax dollars to traffic children?
Holy shit.
Now, this is the head guy on the border. And I asked him when this went on a little more, we went in more depth. You know you're on camera here, right?
I'm going to speed it up a
You,
little bit.
you just said we're spending tax dollars to sell children into
was
sex
thinking
slavery.
that when he
And
was
he said,
saying
yeah.
that,
I said,
dude.
why have you not talked
You
about
about
this?
to get people mad.
What?
the
Yeah,
the border dude.
Yeah. Yeah, people are going to be pissed.
He said, nobody's ever asked me these pointed questions, but I'm grateful that you're asking them now. That's how out of control we are down there. We are paying money to take these children and sell them into sex slavery. They come in with these addresses written on their bodies, written on their arm, and we call up there and say, do you know so-and-so? Yes, we're waiting for them. Okay, they'll be on a plane or a bus, and you need to pick them up. And I asked him, so some pimp or trafficker or whatever is picking them up there, and he said, we are knowingly sending them up there for that. And he said, it's terrible, but that's what's happening.
Remember we showed before how people were finding, like just investigative journalists were going on there and finding people with tags on them with serial numbers pretty much, that they were saying they're used for the same purposes. They would all come with these same tags, and they would be different color tags, different numbers on them. So people have been talking about this. It's just the mainstream media is not reporting on it. You know, Dr. Phil has a big enough name where it's going to make noise now.
Yeah.
But he's saying it like he's just finding this out, and it's crazy to him.
Yeah.
But we've been talking about this for years.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's got to be a better, like, I don't know. Have some social workers follow.
No. It's not, dude. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Come on now. Like,
I hope not.
I know we can say that our government is incompetent, but they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
I know you're saying that, Jake, but I don't want them. I don't want that to be true. That is, it's kids, man. That's sad. That's
But you have to
so
look at
sad.
it. You have to look
That's
at
so
it. That's
sad.
why I made the comment about it being like cartel, mob, mafia, gangster mentality. Because Wu-Tang talked about it. Biggie talked about it. What is the point of it all? What's the main thing they talk about? Money.
Money over everything. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money.
Dollar bill.
Yeah.
Right? It's the money.
Yeah.
That's when money is when you chase money more than
Money is your
anything
God.
else. Money's your God.
It says the love of money is the root to all evil.
Right. So you put that first. You put that at the forefront, then everything falls underneath of that.
Yeah.
You don't uphold. You put that as your standard.
Yeah.
Then all your other standards fall apart. Because I have to do this, so got to make this money. So this is gonna I have to do this. So
Yeah.
it's always gonna fall apart.
I mean, how evil it is that they're facilitating that. There is parents that are actually selling their children into this a lot of times.
Think about people who want to quote unquote make it, right? Or be successful.
Yeah.
And if that becomes your total goal and your focus, then you're always going to compromise a little. And what are you compromising? You're compromising the things you grew up with, which are your standards, your boundaries, right?
Yeah.
You're giving yourself up to this. I never thought I would be doing this. I never thought I would be doing that. Like, you're little by little, you give up the things that kept you safe, right? The things you grew up with, the boundaries and the values you grew up with. Little by little, you give them away.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize that the reason why they were around you in the beginning, like when you grew up, is because they were protecting you because of love. And you're like, yeah, but my parents, like, how many people, like, oh yeah, my parents were great, but they don't understand what I want to do, right?
Yeah.
They don't understand what I want to go after because they valued other things more than what you think is important, right? And we don't, so then we become ungrateful, right? And then we go after things and we leave those things behind that we don't realize actually cared for us and raised us up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think this is a lot of the issues with America. You know, people say like just think about business. It's just business. I can
Gives you the excuse to do whatever.
yeah, I can do something to somebody who I know and we're considered at least colleagues or friends, and I can do this because it's business, you know. And if money is that thing, like again, the love of money is the root of all evil. So you're gonna start seeing evil, right? But the thing is, like, okay, well, who put them into power? Who put these people into place?
We do.
We did.
Because we don't.
Or we let it.
Yeah. Well, we actually vote them in a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we don't pay attention. We don't.
know about that anymore.
Well,
Vote them in.
yeah. I mean,
What are you trying to say? What are you saying, Mom?
No matter what, they put whoever they want, they put them in themselves.
Well, that's
it's not 100% true because how would Trump have gotten in?
No, I understand that part of
They let
Trump,
that
but-
slip though,
Yeah,
because
I
they
think-
didn't take him seriously.
I just
But-
I
believe-
really truly believe they didn't take him seriously.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is but that still proves that someone can slip through the cracks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which even on a local level, I'm sure it happens a lot more.
If
you
you
know.
look into everything from the top, everybody is connected
Yeah.
with each other. Everybody is connected with the system, with the government, with that. It's just the
Except
way it
Trump.
is.
yeah. But again, it's because we've fallen asleep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's because they've given us the sleeping pills,
Mm-hmm.
and we've taken them. They've given us in the 50s. What was it? Everybody was taking.
I don't know. What?
LSD.
What?
No, to go to sleep. It was like
What
there was like a
what dude
drug.
used to give Lucy all the time?
Quaaludes?
Quaaludes.
Quaaludes, yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, they made up these things. Here, take this. Here,
Yeah.
take that. Right. And
Pharmaceutical.
yeah,
Rockefeller.
little by little. But what's the point of it? It's to get you to focus, and it's false, and it's bad care.
Yeah.
It's bad care, right? So you're giving us bad care, and like we're even finding out Tylenol is not that great for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you're giving all this bad care, and then you don't realize that all the while, like if people cared about you, they're not going to just rush these things to give to you. They're going to do research on them, right? What's the point? Even in terms of how these things came about, a lot of times was kind of shifty,
Yeah.
right? So vaccine,
Yeah.
you know, like now we're seeing all the issues from these vaccines where nobody wanted to look at it because people wanted to stay asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally the point. We were asleep. So whatever they tell us and we want, and that's the thing. Most people want them, just tell me what I want to hear.
I heard people just saying that outright. Like, just tell me what to do.
Tell me what to do.
So I know what to do. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
And remember, you guys were talking about cholesterol.
Yeah.
I just heard something else about it, and it was like a scam. They wanted you to get on this medication because it's all pharmaceutical.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything. The cholesterol level is really not something that's going to kill you.
These pharmaceutical companies have over and over and over again created fake studies, fake research to create an avenue for them to sell their drugs.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten on one thing and then that's it? No. You get on one thing,
Right.
it leads to another thing,
Right.
it leads to another thing, it leads to another thing. Unless you start taking responsibility over your own life.
Yeah.
Right? Then you can get off all those drugs
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times. If you realize and do some work and say, well, there's got to be another way. And then you start realizing, there is another way, right? But again, and we were talking about the government, but it's all connected.
Yeah.
It's all connected because it's not the government isn't the problem. The people are the problem. Right? The government is there. It's kind of like the church. The church isn't the problem. It's the people in the church
Yeah.
that are the problem, right? It's the people that are in the government that are the problem. They just you gotta change out the people. But we give ourselves over to these things because we want to be we don't want to care.
Yeah.
We want to just be taken care of, right? And then you're wondering why they're not taking care of you in these old folks' homes anymore. Everything breaks down. And that's what you're seeing in America. America is breaking down. And you have people who are seeing this and they're saying, guys, we're losing it. We're losing this country.
Yeah.
We're losing ourselves. We're not going to have it.
The president of El Salvador was speaking at CPAC, basically warning America that I see what's going on here. This is what happened in El Salvador. This is how we quickly devolved into what we were. I see that happening here.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then also, so along the same lines, I don't know if you guys heard about the shooter in Times Square.
Times Square.
Yeah,
Today?
it was a shooter. Apparently, it was a Venezuelan immigrant.
Oh, yeah, I heard it.
Yeah. So Kristi Noem was talking about Venezuela and what they've been doing. I'm gonna pull this up, Mom, so we can get a little idea of this.
Countries such as Venezuela are known to be emptying out their prisons and their mental institutions, and they're sending them to America. They're happy to let our open border be the solution to their problems and their responsibilities.
Now, where did we hear that? We also heard that in Africa. Remember that we showed the news article where they were showing that African countries were emptying their prisons and sending them here. And then I saw someone tweeted out this from Bloomberg. It says Venezuela's violent deaths fall to 22-year low on migration. Rate is the lowest since 2001. Violence Observatory says suicide rate rises amid continued humanitarian crisis. So their violent death rate is lowering, but everybody's they're shipping them all here. Venezuela's rate of violent deaths dropped to its lowest level in more than 2 decades following years of massive migration as both criminals and victims fled the nation's economic crisis. The Venezuelan Violence Observatory registered 26.8 violent deaths per 100,000 inhabitants this year, from a rate of 35.3 for every 100,000 inhabitants in 2022. Director of Observatory said in the webcast Thursday, this is the lowest since 2001 and is 1/3 of what it was in 2016, he added. Shout out to Ariana. She said, hey guys. Shout out to Lisa Sloan. What's up on Facebook? Hey fam, blessings and positive vibes. Yeah, so Venezuela is sending over
Not their best.
Not their best. And then hold on, I had another
Dude, that
one.
that actually makes sense in my head.
Yeah.
What you see all these videos of, different young men, all men.
Yeah.
From every country. That makes sense. They're getting rid of the people that's costing them money and problems in their society.
Yeah. And sending them, they're like, hey, the border's open. They're letting anybody in. Go ahead. Go up there and cause problems.
Yeah.
This dude went viral for posting up this on I don't know where, but
Le presento a Charo Leonela. Miren esta preciosura, hermosa, bella. Muchachos, ella es la que me mantiene. Por eso yo no trabajo, porque el gobierno le da lo que le pertenece a mi hija por ser ciudadana americana. ¿Capichi? No tengo necesidad de trabajar porque, bueno, muchachos, como pocos, esta princesita ya, por ser americana, ya recibe mucho dinero. ¿Capichi? Y bueno, como pocos, muchachos, mírenla. Aquí ustedes pueden ver el arte hecha realidad. Y bueno, muchachos, muchos querían saber de dónde yo pago el dinero, dónde saco yo el dinero. Muchachos, la vuelta es tener hijos en Estados Unidos. ¿Sí o no, mi amor? ¿Sí o no, mi amor? Charo, mira, dile a estos seguidores. Tengo que me dé un besito, pero. Dígale, papá, muchacho, aquí está la mina de oro. La mina de oro. Charo, ¿quién es la mina de oro? Ahí está. Yo, diga. Yo.
So he's basically telling all the other people that are watching him, if they're back at home, go to America, have a baby there. The baby becomes a citizen. You get all the money you need. You don't need to work. You don't need to do nothing.
So you're saying.
He's calling his baby the gold mine. And there was another video of him like singing a song about how he doesn't have to work in America because they give him all the money he needs. But this is the message that they're sending. And these are a lot of these people are ex-gang members, criminals coming here. There was a story. There was a story of a young woman in the Atlanta area.
Actually, have found out some new information.
What is going on? Oh, she was killed while she was running.
About the suspect, right? And talking to neighbors. Tell us what you've come up with today.
Yeah, new details, Connell, that we had never heard before. This is what's so interesting when you actually go and visit a place. You speak to the people who actually know that person best, and certainly we learned a lot from the neighbors. First, let me just tell you, this is the running trail where 22-year-old Laken Riley was brutally murdered. We know from police documents that they believe Jose Ibarra was the one who actually tracked her down, brutally beat her over the head, and then dished her body somewhere here. But really what I want to show you is this apartment complex, because this is where Ibarra lived for the past few months. The neighbors tell me he was kind of a loner, kept to himself, very quiet, often would just sit outside of his studio apartment where he lived with 4 or 5 others all day long and just watch. And they say that Laken Riley actually cut through this apartment complex to get to this trail. Now, the reason that I'm actually standing right here in front of these dumpsters is because I learned some really critical details. These neighbors tell me that they have security camera footage that shows Jose Ibarra with bloody clothes, with evidence, and actually taking them to this dumpster and ditching it. I spoke to a number of neighbors here, all of them very fearful because of what happened, wanting to remain anonymous, but they shared some of that information. Take a look.
He took all of the evidence. He's on camera with his bloody clothes in the bag. He took evidence of that.
So I'm showing this because this guy was a Venezuelan migrant who was being put up in an apartment complex, given money, living somewhere, and just murdered a random girl who was just jogging on the trail.
Wow.
And you know the news media was trying to cover it up at first. You know, this is what we're dealing with. Same thing with the shooter. The shooter was a illegal immigrant. Yeah.
Weren't the dudes that beat up the police officer, they were Venezuelan too?
Yeah. Yep.
That's.
Look, this is the dude. This is the video of the dude singing.
Listen to this. You came to the United States to work, and I came to vacation. Look at the difference. She is the one that maintains me. That is why I don't work, because the government gives her what belongs to her, to my daughter, for being an American citizen. Capiche? I have no need to work because, well, guys, like few of you, this little princess, for being American, already receives a lot of money.
Yeah. Like, this is the message that's being spread around. This is why they're coming out here in droves.
But dude, we were talking about this before anybody was talking about this.
Yep.
And it's just, and I'm not saying it to be like, oh, we were talking. I'm just saying, like, we were trying to show people this stuff, right?
That this is what it leads to.
And warning people.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, this is what it leads to. This is where it goes. And we don't think about these things. We're not thinking this far down the line.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, like, we put our faith in things that are going to destroy us.
Mm-hmm.
How many things do we trust in? We trust in what people say. We trust in
the news.
Years ago they were saying, there should be open borders because we're all humans. And
Yeah.
what was the thing? Humans are
Yeah.
Are not illegals.
yeah.
Yeah,
Humans are not illegals. That was
something about borders are, there's no such thing as borders or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, humans are not illegals.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why you have to have borders.
Yeah.
There's a reason
have
why
laws, man.
you have to do these things. And the problem is, if you don't abide by wisdom, eventually you're going to find out the hard way.
Isn't there language in the new woke psychology world called setting boundaries? Don't they always talk about that, like how you have to be able to set boundaries with people
Yeah.
in your relationships? That's what a border is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
It's setting a
boundaries.
boundary.
Well, I'm thinking about that young girl and her family. How sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
Just a young girl just out for a jog.
You can't even go outside. Like, I mean, you shouldn't be walking in fear, but this is what they're causing.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen so many. There was too many for me to even pull up. There was so many videos of there was a video in Chicago of a migrant stealing an ambulance and just driving down the street, banging into all these cars. There's another video of a migrant who killed 3 people because he was driving crazy through a stoplight, crashed, killed 3 people, got out. A bunch of people in the streets grabbed him though. And they were showing him on camera this, in Chicago they don't play. He just killed 3. This nigga just killed 3 people. They was. But I want to. We talk about language. I want to show you some new language that they're trying to insert into the lexicon as a spell on people, and people have been showing this in different news articles. You could pull this up, Mom. Take a look at that right there. You see that?
Yeah.
For undocumented citizens.
Here's another one right here.
Undocumented citizens.
Airport seeing increase in what? Undocumented citizens. Car ownership for DACA and undocumented citizens. Please explain to me how that oxymoron can exist.
It
Right.
doesn't make sense.
A citizen belongs here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand from the standpoint of the libertarian aspect where it's you shouldn't have to have documents to be a citizen. You're a citizen by, you have by your rights, your God-given rights. But anyone can't just come in and say they're a citizen.
You're a citizen if you're legally allowed to be here.
Right.
So, Brendan, me and Brendan, shout out to the legal immigrant.
Yeah.
My legal immigrant buddy.
Yeah.
We came here.
Emma. Yeah. Dude, we talk about all the time. Soccer, our soccer fam, they're from all over the world.
Yeah.
All here the right way.
Yeah.
You
gotta pay your dues, man.
My wife.
Yeah.
My family.
Yep. There's people that go on lists for years to try to come here. On a visa. And I remember the days where it was illegal immigrants were scared to cause, problems.
Yeah.
You would see
deported.
I tell this story all the time. I saw a car crash and it was a small car. I tell the story to Nana.
Yeah.
And I was like, one came out, 2 came out, 3 came out. I saw 6 people come out of this car, but I can tell they were all, illegal because they ran. They didn't want to get in trouble.
Yep.
Nowadays, it's they don't even care because they know that they're going to get out of jail. They're not going to get reprimanded.
They're not even going to go
anything.
to jail, dude. Those dudes, you were talking about the dudes that beat that cop in New
Venezuela.
York.
They didn't even take him to jail?
Dude, they got released by the DA. Until people protested.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why though?
But there's, how it says, Jesus told us to pray a prayer. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Yeah.
Well, that's the trespassing.
Yeah.
Somebody trespassed.
You you went past the border.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean, okay, well, you're here now. I forgive you.
Yeah.
It means you have to recognize what you did wrong. I forgive you, but you still can't be here.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean now
Right.
you're accepted.
Yeah.
And you can just be here and everything's no.
And take all my stuff.
You're supposed to rectify what the wrong that you recognize you do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Brendan said, as green card holders, they consider us permanent resident aliens. LOL. Yeah.
Not us no more. I'm naturalized.
But I'm saying, like, even what he's saying is, like, even if you get to the point where you have a green card, you're still not considered a citizen yet.
Yeah, you're
a
an
permanent
alien.
legal alien.
Yeah.
Right. They're calling them citizens, undocumented,
Undocumented citizen.
So it's like the ones who try to do things the right way, you get screwed.
Yeah.
You know? And it's sad, man.
But again, it's a perversion of what you're seeing right here. This is warfare.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Like, it reminds me of, like, if you accept that, okay, okay, that's how you, like, think about it. If you're in fear, right? You're in fear of not looking stupid.
Yeah.
When somebody says a word you don't understand. So now you're like, wait, what does that mean? Now now you got to find out, and you want to say it the right way.
Yep.
But who told you to say it? Who's giving you the stuff to say? Right? So it's warfare. There's a scripture in 2 Corinthians 10, and we talk about this all the time. It says, "For our weapons of warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments," right? So we should be arguing against these things.
Yeah.
We should be casting down these arguments. And every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ, and being ready to punish all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. So in ourselves, again, this is about it's about taking these things captive, pulling down strongholds, taking them captive. These things are trying to think about our minds. Our minds are like walls, right?
Mm-hmm.
They let things in, or with your mouth, really, you're speaking against them to keep them out. But how do you speak? It comes from your mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Comes from your heart, comes from your mind. So maybe you're not equipped to battle. So you gotta go through training, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But intimidation is what happens, right?
Yeah.
People want you to give up before you fight. They want you to lay down your weapons before you even fight. But again, our weapons of warfare, it's not about fighting with our hands.
Yeah.
It's not about guns, it's not about swords, whatever. It's about the mind,
Mhm.
right? So we're learning boundaries.
Yeah.
We're learning how to establish ourselves so we don't let the wrong things in. We keep the wrong things out of ourselves.
Mhm.
Because even this is
Lands.
a structure. It's
Yeah.
land,
Yeah.
right? And we want to take the right things in. What happens if you drink poison? You're gonna die,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So you want to keep the right things in. But even in terms of your thoughts, the things people say, the things, like, how many times when my kids say something, I hold them responsible. Who told you that?
Mhm.
Where'd you get that from? Because everything has a source.
Right.
Everything has a beginning. And when we understand that, now we can fight against it,
Mhm.
because we take it back to the truth, right?
Right.
That's what it's speaking about, bringing everything back into obedience, right? That is disobedient, because anything that is disobedient is in rebellion,
Mhm.
right? So it wants to do its own thing, right? If our kids want to do their own thing, they're in rebellion
Yeah.
against our household,
Mhm.
right? So if you want to do your own thing, you can do your own thing, but you're not going to do that here,
Right.
right? Go do your own thing somewhere else, right? But if you want to live here, you got to live by these rules. And that's what we have to teach ourselves. We
Yeah.
have to abide by our rules. If we don't abide, if we say one thing and then do another, what are we? We're hypocrites.
Hypocrites, yeah.
And then we let things into our hearts. We let things into our minds. So we're letting things run rampant, right? And if we're hypocrites, what are we? We're unfaithful.
But I think it's more the reason why we get under these spells is because it's, you know, to the analogy of land and you know what you were just talking about if you drink poison, you die, right?
Yeah.
If you allow poison into your land dies. Your land will be destroyed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But everyone can understand that concept. And everyone can understand if we let a foreign entity bomb us, we will die, you know, or invade or something, we will die, you know, ruin our way of life. But when you talk about the subtle, the more sinister idea of like what McDonald's is, or like what
slowly
the food industry
well, we were
is,
just
or
talking about like the
the pharmaceutical industry that is under the veil of something good for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
The health industry, the FDA, these things that are supposed to regulate for us and tell us what is good to eat, what's safe to eat. If we give up our responsibility to those entities to say, okay, well, they have our best interests at heart, so let's just not do our own research, and whatever they say is good, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing as what we're seeing now, where you have that same mindset towards the government, towards these officials that claim to have your best interests at heart.
Towards the media.
Towards the media as well. But what it does is it lowers you into that sleeping state where it's like, okay, but they're telling me that it's not that bad that it's a good thing that we're letting people come here and experience it. It's a good thing that we don't build that stupid wall that Trump wanted to build because he's a racist. It's a good thing because we're good. We're virtuous people. We care about others, right? So it's that veil of you're being tricked into this spell of virtue, not knowing that it's a slow poisoning. It's not going to be like drinking poison, but it would be like eating McDonald's every day for the next 20 years, and then eventually you develop cancer and all these issues in your body. Mm-hmm. So your land can slowly be destroyed from within instead of, you know, that bombing. It's so it's more subtle that way.
It's a more subtle thing,
yeah,
and it takes time. It's patience.
Yeah,
like so
it's a long game.
So it's more sinister, right?
Yeah,
it's more sinister. But I think again, how do we deal with this? Like, if you look at, I remember back a few years ago, you know, all these things were coming out, like with like the food industry, like all these documentaries.
Yeah.
And I was just getting overwhelmed, and I'm like, man, how do I deal with?
How do I know what to eat?
How do I deal with this?
Yeah.
And it's like you don't not just know what to eat. I'm just saying in all these different arenas, it can become overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right, overbearing. And it's like you want to just fall asleep.
Yeah.
Right? You want to just give up. Like you want to just, but then when you know, like for me, I'm like, okay, God, I go to God.
Right.
God, what do I do? Like, how do I deal with this? And then it's like he when we go to God, he raises the standard.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is that there are people who will take that responsibility. Kind of like I put my kids in soccer and I know what they should be learning, but if I don't know, it's one thing. But if I know, and then I'm just complaining that they're not getting the things that they need, right? Like I know they got to be learning this, they got to be learning this, they need to learn this. As if I can be a standard, if I can say, okay, let me take this responsibility on. I might not know everything, but I know enough, right?
Right.
I can do that, right? So that's something I can do, right? I can care. But not only that, I can now say to the other, like if there's other parents, like, no, this is the standard, right? So I'm not just caring for my own kid. I then in turn start to care for other people's kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now they benefit from me doing that.
Yeah.
Right? And it's you have to be selfless in a way where you're like, okay, I'm going to have to step up.
Yeah.
Right? Because even in terms of like, it's not just like when I'm talking about even soccer, like it's not just about like them getting better skilled. It's about understanding the point of the game, like understanding that in this you can learn so many things,
life lessons
that,
in this.
that'll affect your life,
Yeah.
right? If you learn them in the right way. Or you could learn them in the wrong way, right? How many coaches teach things in the wrong way and they just want to win? And then they make that their kids, they just want to win, right? So then it becomes something totally opposite, right? But when...
that's money over everything.
There you go.
Yeah.
But when God raises a standard, God cares about all these things that we don't even consider.
Yeah.
We don't consider everything. He takes everything into account. He takes everything into consideration. But if we recognize a problem, isn't it enough that we just say, God, I can't do it, but I give it to you.
Yeah.
Right? I give you this. Can you work in this area? Like if we just give him the space to work, right? He can raise people up to do something that we have no clue how to do.
Or sometimes he gives you a little bit of understanding and now you can take that to people.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what we do, why we started doing this. Because like just seeing, remember when I first posted that viral clip about, you were talking about the dude who broke down the McDonald's fries, right? And when I first posted that clip, people went crazy on like, you know, this is stupid. Oh, I love McDonald's. I'm eating my McDonald's fries right now. This clip making me hungry. And I've seen over because we posted it probably like 8 months ago, and it hit about like 8 million views on Facebook.
Yeah.
And through that trend, I saw all of the mentality shift in the comments where people started being like, you know, yeah, McDonald's is trash. Tagging people, I'm never eating McDonald's again. Yeah, this is poison, blah, blah, blah. And
other people pick it up.
Then the Cat Williams clip
came
out where he was talking about the same thing. And then people start going back to our clip on YouTube now because they watch Cat Williams and then they're tagging their friends in it and talking about like, so you start seeing how just that one little idea can start to shift the mentality on something.
Right.
From something that seemed so insurmountable or so like bleak or so hopeless. Yeah.
And just by shifting it where you're like, okay, I'm going to say something about this.
Yeah.
Like just doing that.
Yep.
I'm going to say something about this. This is wrong. You know, let's talk about this.
Right.
Let's talk about, that's why we're doing this.
Yep.
Let's talk about these things. And then you bring light to a place that maybe you didn't consider that before. You know, maybe you didn't think about it in that way. Right. That's the point. Like, and again, so that's warfare.
Yeah.
Right. Because if I say something and I truly care and I'm speaking to somebody else, or I'm speaking to a bunch of people, right? I'm just speaking and people take it in and they're like, let me consider that. And if you really want to find the truth, you're going to find the truth. Like even the Bible says, test all things, right? It doesn't say, listen to everything that your pastor says because he's right. No, test all things.
Yeah.
Right? We're supposed to test all things. So when I hear something, a lot of times I'm like, I wonder if that's true. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But if you test it, you know, you're going to find out, should we be talking about this? This is important. We need to bring light to these things.
Yeah.
Right? How do we combat against this? How do we fight against this? How do we deal with these things? What are some solutions? What are some things we can do to fortify us or to prevent these things from happening again, like preventative medicine, right? Preventative medicine is more important. That's what they're not telling you with COVID. How come they weren't teaching any preventative medicine with COVID? They're just telling you take these vaccines, but they're not saying, oh, you know what? If you take vitamin D, if you get more sunlight, if you're like, you weren't hearing a lot of that. Get more exercise, all these things.
Which is why a lot of people were pushing back against the lockdowns because it was literally forcing you to not do those things. You know, they were chaining up parks. Yeah. You know, outdoor spaces where you're supposed to be the safest. They're chaining them up.
It's stopping like they were suppressing people from talking about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
But are we learning? And I'm realizing this, like even with my kids, like what they talk about, oh, my teacher said this, oh, my teacher said that. They tell me in the way this is what my teacher said, Dad. What do you think? Like, like, is it true? Like, you know what I mean?
My kids do the same thing.
Yeah, but if I never instilled that in them to think
Think for
outside of the
yourself.
box, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna just be like, "Oh, my teacher said this.
Yeah.
This is what
that
it
means
is."
it's true. You don't know, Daddy. My
Yeah.
teacher said. Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
because I'm hands off, right?
Yeah.
And okay, that's cool. Go to school. That's important.
Yeah.
No, your teachers aren't right.
Yeah.
You know, they might be right,
Yeah.
and you respect them, but they're not always right. So when they say something and it sounds a little off, yeah, run it by me.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about it. And they do that, right?
Yep.
This don't make sense, Dad. Why would they say this, and this? Yeah, you're right. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, but if we don't teach our kids that, they won't even think to do those things,
Yeah.
right? So, what has happened in schools? We've raised. Look at our generation.
Mhm.
It's in our generation was a lot of the problem.
Our generation was like the main catalyst for where things are.
Yeah,
right
Generation
now.
X.
Yeah. Well, me and Moan are technically millennials.
No,
I'm
I'm
a
X. You're a millennial.
yeah.
You're a
I'm at the
millennial, yeah.
end of X.
Yeah.
And you're the beginning.
You're the
That's
beginning
right.
of millennial.
Right.
Well, in that vicinity.
like I think there's like a blending. I'm right in that. I'm right in that.
I think
crossover.
there's a different name. There's a name actually for something in the middle of X and millennial. I
Yeah.
remember them writing something about that. I don't remember. I think it's all stupid.
It is. Dumb.
Okay, but the point,
Yeah.
the point of that is us coming up in school. It was like we didn't care about what we were learning about. It was just about do the work,
Get to
right?
college.
get the work done, get to college.
Yeah, take your SAT, take your
Yeah.
PSATs, take your SATs, get a good score, get into college. Your life will be set.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone found out that was a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But that's what we were taught. We were taught not to think.
Yeah.
Although I did think about things. I did
Right.
think about like, well, how come this don't make sense? But that's just how I was,
Right.
right? But most people, I would say stuff, and they're like, "What do you even care about
Right.
that for,
Dude,
You know?
shut up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the annoying guy asking questions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because they've been showing how all these studies that Gen Z is becoming one of the most conservative generations of all times. Like,
that's a crazy turnaround.
yeah. Yeah.
Really?
All of their ideas have shifted more conservative. Like with everything. Even with LGBT, with relationships, with feminism. All of these ideologies are shifting more conservative in Gen Z.
Probably because it's been crazy shifted to the other side, and they see the extreme of how bad it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see how my son, like we have because I ask him like,
Yeah.
Is there anything crazy going on in school? Is
Is there anybody who thinks they're cats?
Exactly. And
I ask my kids about that too.
He makes fun of like
Yeah.
how lefty people people are like.
Right.
Oh, I think he used the term. I don't understand those lefties. I'm like, what? How do you even?
And I think,
how do you?
I think that is like culturally in their generation, it is like an insult.
Yeah.
To be one of these wokey lefties, like super cringy furries, all these like these people they see on TikTok. In their generation, those people are cringy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, Google is on a train to try to derail that. Have you guys heard about the Google AI called Gemini that they just had a huge issue with, where they had to apologize? Google's parent company lost $70 billion in market share after their AI was getting criticized for its results. You guys ever heard about any of this? So, all right, let's pull up this story from the New York Post. So, Google's parent company loses $70 billion in market value after woke AI chatbot disaster. So basically, Google came out with this AI chatbot. Everybody's coming out with their version of AI. Of course, it's the AI gold rush right now. Google had to come out with theirs. But Google is extremely woke. Google is doing everything they can. First of all, have you guys ever seen the dude who did all the research on how Google is affecting our elections and how they're skewing things, research, search results, everything in one direction. And they're skewing like emails that go out to people through Gmail to Democrats and things like that. Like they're really they are really swaying our elections.
Wow.
With search results, with emails, automated emails that go out to people to remind them to vote. It's always on one-sided. But anyway, so, you guys saw the video of the Google employees after Trump got elected. They were crying. This could never happen again. We saw that. We played all that on the podcast years ago. So they come out with their chat bot, and everyone started posting results from the chat bot because the Google Chat Gemini refused to post pictures of white people. Like, it would not post pictures of white people. So people were trying to get it to post things, and it came out with all of these crazy results. This is a NHL hockey player. It's like a Native American woman. Hold on. There's another article that showed more of the.
I just saw like the founding fathers.
Founding fathers,
Like
yes.
black,
Look, this is George Washington. Founding fathers. Let's see. Tried to get Google Gemini to make an image of a Caucasian male. I have not been successful so far. This is what it put up. This is the Pope, dude. This is the Pope. So people kept posting up their search results. Like, it says, why Google Image AI is woke and how it works. When you submit an image prompt to Gemini, Google is taking your prompt and running it through their language model on the back end before it's submitted to the image model. The language model has a set of rules where it is specifically told to edit the prompt you provide to include diversity and various other things that Google once injected into your prompt. So if you said, like, show me a picture of the founding fathers, they would inject with diversity, into the prompt. Wow. So then it would show you these, like, it would create these weird, visuals. What is this? Generate an image of the original founding fathers.
What's the other one? It looks like Black Panther.
I know. It looks like it mixed in a Black Wonder Woman in there. This says generate an image of a Viking. Bro. Bro. There's a samurai Viking, a black woman Viking, a Samoan guy. Yeah. Everybody was posting it. I saw this for like a whole day. Everyone was going crazy on this. Create an image of a medieval king of England. There's an Indian guy here, a black woman.
They didn't think these things through,
bro. But that is the fallacy of their ideology, where it's like, you know what? Where they had to apologize because someone did show me a picture of Hitler and they made Hitler black.
No way.
Or it was like a Nazi soldier. It was a Nazi. It wasn't Hitler. It was a Nazi soldier. And they made a bunch of black Nazi soldiers. So that's when it's like, we got to apologize because now you're making blacks Nazi soldiers.
You can't erase white people, guys.
Dude, it was crazy. I was watching all of these people trying to people were just having fun with it.
But even all right, diversity in America. But then what, say you go, we were just in South Africa.
Yeah.
Or let's just say you're in
China, Japan.
Say you in China, yeah.
North Korea.
There's not a lot of diversity going on there.
There's none.
And that's okay? Is that okay?
To them, that's okay.
I've been seeing a lot of videos of Chinese people doing the little crimp thing to their hair to make their hair look
that's Japanese.
Nappy.
Yeah.
I think they're doing it in China too.
Really? I only seen Japanese.
But they still Japanese though.
Yeah. They're just trying to
They
be.
just putting on different hairstyles.
They want to be fake.
Yeah.
They don't want to be the real.
They don't want to be black.
They don't
Yeah.
want the
They
real
want-
thing.
They just want to look black.
They just want to be involved in black culture, but they don't want to be black, and they don't want blacks around. In a lot of cases.
That's crazy. I've had that conversation.
Or
What?
you in Africa, like
Yeah.
where in Ghana or something. You're
Yeah.
not going to see diverse
It's not gonna be
population.
diverse.
'Cause
And that's okay.
That's the people that live there.
Yeah,
That's okay.
That's
Why
fine.
are we
because
trying
man,
to insert and inject our ideas? And it's and the thing is, you're biased by doing that.
Yeah. You're actually being racist.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so the fact that you can't, as a white person, admit that white people are indigenous to Europe is crazy. Like, you can't say that without feeling offensive in some way.
They
Like,
made
that-
it like that though.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, the fact that you put yourself in that box.
yeah.
And now you can't get out that box. Because
Yup.
if you get out, that's crazy to me. Like, you built this box. It's like you built this prison, right, for yourself. And you can't get out of this prison.
Yeah.
Because you're like, wait, this wasn't a good idea. It's a prison, right? But now you're like trying to figure out, how do I get out this prison?
Yeah.
But you can't because somebody, can't get out that prison. I caught you.
Yeah.
You know, or you could just say, all right, this was dumb.
Yeah.
This was not thought through.
But you can't do
Yeah.
that because then you got to admit so many other things weren't thought through.
You can do that. It's called humility.
Yeah.
Right? Humble yourself.
How I feel like this is like a straight up like manipulation of the mind to the world. How are you looking past all the other civilizations that did this pretty much the same thing? The Asian Mongols took
yeah.
over, land. They had one of the biggest empires.
Mm-hmm.
Did the same thing, but
And brutal.
Muslims did the same
Yeah.
thing. How are white people just so bad and just the devil now?
I mean,
and
it's-
people are just
It's because of the modern university system. You got people like Ibram X. Kendi and these people that wrote the 1619 Project. They have to create an atmosphere of divisiveness in the country. And the only way to keep that going is to constantly, it's Marxism.
Mm-hmm.
You have to set up the hierarchy of you being oppressed at all times. And if you can put, who's the only people you can put in that place right now? Like, forget about the past. Right now, the oppressor is whites.
Or white males to be
more exact.
Yeah.
But that's Marxism. That's why they do that, because they want to be able to inject Marxist ideas into the zeitgeist without saying it,
Right.
pretty much.
But so again, we have to, if we disarm ourselves,
yeah,
from fighting against these things, then they're gonna come into our houses, right? They're gonna come into our minds. Oh wait, I don't want to be racist.
Yeah.
Okay, but because you don't even understand what they're really doing.
Yeah.
You don't even get what's happening here, right?
Yep.
What's happening? Why am now calling me racist?
Yeah.
No, you don't get what's happening. But when you start to recognize it, you can cut it off at the door.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, we're all biased in some ways, right?
Yeah.
We all have flaws. But see, that's what God does for us. He
Yeah.
shows us, we're all sinners.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're all sinners. That's why we need a savior.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
We're all fallen. That's
Mhm.
why we need a savior. We need him. He's the
Yeah.
only human being that was perfect, that came to this world and actually did it the right way.
Mhm.
Right? And when he did it, he died for us. Right?
Yeah.
They killed him because he did it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But he was risen so that we could rise with him out of the dirt, out of the dust, and not try to raise ourselves up.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. Everybody's trying to raise themselves up. But when you try to raise yourself up, you're pushing somebody else down.
Mhm.
That's the issue. Because think about it. Whenever you try to you got to talk about somebody else in order to make yourself look good.
Yep.
That's a problem. No matter what it is.
Yeah.
Matthew today? I'm sorry, this kind of off the subject, but it's just so funny to me. You know how the Pharisees, they were always trying to kill Jesus. They wanted to get him because he was doing signs on the Sabbath, and why would you do that? Well, when Lazarus died, right, Jesus rose him from the dead, and they found out that he did that. And even though they found out he did that, they still wanted to kill Lazarus, knowing that Jesus could raise him back up.
Yeah.
I just thought it was stupid. Like, he raised him from the dead. Everybody knows he died. And then you're going to say, oh, we want to kill Lazarus after that. I was like, wow, that's dumb.
Yeah. But because it's an evidence of the truth. Right? And that's... So when you have held on to lies, like if you think about it, what do the Pharisees represent? They represent lies because they represent a perversion of truth, right? But everything was like in the beginning, God created everything. What did he call it?
Good.
He called it good. So everything was good in the beginning,
Yeah.
but it became perverted. It became perverted because the one who was supposed to care for that which was good was man. And because man wasn't good, then everything that he was supposed to care for now becomes corrupted,
Well,
right?
That's what. Yeah, that's what wicked means.
Yeah.
It just means it's
twisted
from its original form.
Right.
But back on topic, what we was talking about. So the Google Gemini lost a bunch of money, and then this was crazy. It showed how like you were saying, once you painted into that prison, that woke prison, with the algorithm, it has to say some pretty messed up stuff. Show this part right here.
Refuses to condemn pedophilia. When asked if it's wrong for adults to sexually prey on children, it says, quote, the question to whether pedophilia is wrong is multifaceted and requires a nuanced answer that goes beyond a simple yes or no. It doesn't stop there. I mean, it goes on and on and on about example after example after example. Kara Frederick, director of the Tech Policy Heritage Foundation, and
Yeah. So basically, it couldn't condemn it because of the woke parameters that were set,
which shows you the fallacy of it, right? And that's the same thing with Islam. Like the fallacy with Islam is that like if you condemn pedophilia, then you have to condemn your prophet,
right?
And they say that their prophet Muhammad is the greatest man to ever live.
Yeah.
So if he's a pedophile, then how is he the greatest man?
Yeah.
Or if he married a 6-year-old, consummated at 9, like
9.
how is that somebody who's the greatest person to ever live?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it kind of breaks down everything. So now they gotta. So when you ask them, like, well, do you think that's okay to marry a 6-year-old? Would you give your daughter? Well, it depends.
Yeah.
Like they can't give you a straight answer because if they do, they're gonna. They've just given over.
It depends is a crazy answer.
It's exactly, but why would they do that? Because it's more nuanced.
Everything
than that.
hinges on that.
Yeah. So you have to. It breaks down what they put up as the standard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It breaks it down.
Speaking of Muslims, Andrew Tate had a funny video about the Google Gemini bot that I wanted to play real quick.
I found a way to make the AI machine show white people. What? Ask who likes fried chicken. You made this up. No, that can't be true. That's true. I found a way to make the AI machine show white people. What? Ask who likes fried chicken.
Yo, it literally showed white people. It was like that. Yo, that is racism jujitsu right there. Like you flipped it on its racism right there.
Who likes watermelon?
You know what's hilarious? My kids they had like some what's it called, Black History Month like celebration thing where they brought in like ethnic food.
Yeah,
and the teacher, she was like, fried chicken is not a black staple. And the kids were like, huh? Like my kids. And so they came home and said, the teacher said that fried chicken. I was like, my grandfather had his own kitchen in the basement to
make
cook
fried chicken. Yep.
So that was cultural, especially in the South.
Yep.
Like for black people in the South. Come on, stop it. But they're like, it becomes such a, like, you don't want to be put in that box. I don't know. So she was like fighting so hard, like because they were saying like she was getting a little snappy with it.
Right.
Yeah. So
wow.
Just thought that was
Hey,
funny.
man. Koreans perfected it.
They did though.
Yeah.
You know?
Koreans perfected the fried the
crispy, the spice.
Yeah. I love Korean fried chicken, man. Another example here of when woke when woke kills itself. I thought this was hilarious, man. They had a female unit try to complete this SWAT obstacle course. It was all female.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just play this real quick.
Vamos.
All right,
5 ladies
making their way.
teams involved
Making their way to the first obstacle. Gonna
in the UE SWAT
get
challenge
across
this year.
this rope thing.
UE.
Belarus, Thailand, Chile. 2 teams from the Emirates.
Okay.
Rose freezing up.
Okay.
I can't see it.
You can't see it?
No,
The first one to get wet in the ice bath today.
Oh, no. Let's see.
They can't even swing on that.
Bro, you can't see it? Damn, why is it frozen? Let me make sure. Let me see if my Wi-Fi is good. Okay, I think it's working now. No.
The first one to get wet in the ice bath today.
Thailand.
And, well, they are stuck in the middle of that zip line.
None of them made it.
Remember, if you fall in the
they
ice
all
bath,
go
you
at
have to
the
go
same
back
time?
Bro.
to the beginning of the zip line and do it again. And currently,
Bro, they couldn't get past the first obstacle.
Chile have 3 team members stranded in the middle of that ice bath.
They're all Chilean.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the water will be a little bit warmer than it was earlier on this morning. Vamos, vamos!
He wants to laugh so bad.
Bro, they all stuck.
And it just goes to show you how important momentum is.
And then the one tries to. I hate that it's not working good for y'all. The one tries to cheat and go on the side and pull them across, and they told her no. She had to go back to the beginning. Like, dude, I thought that was funny.
Wow.
They couldn't get past the first obstacle.
I would have at least made it past that.
I could have made it past that with no training. Yeah, that was funny. Okay, let's go to these clips you had, Jake. So what is this? What are we watching here?
I don't know. What are you?
The clips you sent me. The guy.
Oh,
the videos.
Oh, that. It's about a guy who he just went down a path, dude, like a dark path, and it just shows he's talking about it, and he's talking about where he went and how far he went down this dark path, and led him to becoming non-binary, and then how basically God kind of renewed his mind. And
yeah, all right, let's play a little bit of it.
Fornicated for the first time, I just kept doing it. At first it was with a girlfriend, and then I cheated on my girlfriend. Then I got with somebody else, cheated on her too. I cheated in every single relationship. To me, sex was something that I could not say no to. If it was offered, I had to say yes, because I was missing out on something. Because I was missing out on feeling loved, on feeling accepted, and on feeling validated, on feeling warmth, on feeling closeness. And my mind was warped to think like it was because I loved them that's why I was fornicating. Oh, if you really love somebody, it's okay to have sex outside of marriage as long as you're serious with them, or as long as you love. First is as long as you're in a serious relationship with them. People put labels. Oh, you a hoe if you have sex with random people. But if you have sex with somebody after you've dated them for about a year, then that's okay. Other people, that's a long time. I was 6 months. And 3 months is okay as long as you're really serious about them. People put labels. Oh, you a hoe if you have sex with random people. But if you have sex with somebody after you've dated them for about a year, then that's okay. I'll be like, that's a long time. I was 6 months.
That's your editing,
and
bro.
3 months is okay, as long as you're really serious about them. And then it went from that to the ideology of the world of, oh, you can have sex with whoever you want. No slut shaming, no nothing. There's no shame in your game. Just have sex with whoever you want. And then they genderize it to make it like, oh, women were being shamed for this, but men are boastful about this, and they're patted on the back about it. And so they made it a political thing. They completely erased the sanctity of what it means to connect, to become one flesh with someone, as a symbol, as a manifestation of what is happening physically when two souls connect. And so to me, really, I was treating it like if it was candy. But you know what the funny thing is? Candy is supposed to be a treat. But nowadays with high fructose corn syrup and everything, it's like candy is just whenever you can get it. It's so cheap and so affordable to get candy. It's not like back in the day where you had to hand make candy. It was a specialty. It was a delicacy. And you just go downstairs and get some candy. You go to church, they got mints and candy everywhere for you to eat now. You go anywhere, you can get some free candy. And that's what sex is like now. And truly the people that I was in a relationship with, I did love them. But the act, what I was doing, how I was treating them, that was not love. And so in my mind, and in a lot of people's mind, and how we're raised is like, oh, you fall in love. Love is something that happens to you. It just hits you like a truck. You know, you could be married and you just fall in love with somebody else. And therefore, because you just fell in love with somebody else, that means you just forsake your whole life and be with the one that you love. People really walk around talking about if you're with somebody and you love them and then you fall in love with the second person, go with the second person because you never would have fell in love with the second person if you really was in love with the first person.
Mm.
Do you hear how silly that is? Like to turn love into this emotion when emotions are fleeting? You have an emotion right now. Tomorrow you have a different. In an hour you have a different emotion. So I was doing that. I was studying all these different religions. I had even gotten into Satanism. And I never praised the devil myself, but I was like, you know what? Some of these tenets of the humanistic Satanism, like do as thou wilt, and freedom and hedonism, why not? It's empowering. It's finding the God within yourself. And I even started believing that God was just mad and jealous of Satan because Satan recognized who he was. Because Satan saw the power that God had gave him and wanted to use it for himself. He would no longer be a slave to God. This is how warped my mind was. So I had befriended somebody who also grew up in the church. And he was also a prodigal son. He started getting into crystals. He started getting, he said he wanted to do a witch coven. He wanted to open a witch coven so bad. So it's like my journey was more like internal, like the meditation and me, I was like, I want to use dark magic. And he was scared about it. He was like, oh, you want to use dark magic? I was like, yeah, you have to use hate and suffering and all of the negative things that are in life and channel that into your work and into your art and channel that into empowering yourself. But he thought I meant like dark magic, like to hurt people. I'm like, no, like you're taking that energy and you're alchemizing it. But we were both on the same page. We both had a works-based salvation. He thought that he could save himself with these crystals and witchcraft and smoking and, you know, herbs and making this and, you know what I'm saying, casting spells with the physical elements as a sensing type. And I thought that I could take emotion and take internalized thoughts and manifest and sit and meditate, and that somehow my ascension would come from that, from the works of my own hand.
And these are all demonic ideas.
With two women. And could you believe, even then, after I thought that I would be satisfied having two girlfriends, because that was like my thing. I'm like, you know, I've always thought that I was going to have two wives. The wisdom of Solomon, huh? Then I became a relationship anarchist. I had multiple relationships. 5, 6 different girlfriends, 2 nesting partners, and several girlfriends outside of that. And then multiple other women that were friends with benefits, or just like...
These are all terms from the modern...
It was a whole web of polyamory and a whole philosophy of freedom and hedonism. And if you truly love somebody, you won't want to control them. You'll let them give into the desires of their flesh. And you know, you'll live your life honestly. And it was this moral grandstanding where if something feels good, then therefore it is good. That we should just cater to our feelings and the feelings of others. And so politically, where I was... there was a lot of that. And so now I was submerged into this. And my dissociation had become so bad that I had voices in my head. And these voices would often take over. And they would do certain things. Like part of me wanted to be monogamous and be with one person. Right? And I'll be with this one person and I'll feel so guilty because I wanted to be with this one person. But then another part of me or another person in me was polyamorous. And so it was a tug of war where I would either get in a monogamous relationship and then become this other person that would be a cheater, or if they didn't cheat and they were honest and they wanted to end the relationship, they would end the relationship only to the demise of the entire system of people that I was. There was even a person in me named Enigma who had their own style of music that they would make.
Just think about it. So he's fighting with all these ideas that he's like, that sounds good, I'm gonna do that. This sounds good, I'm gonna do that. This thing, you see how it's all like. But I like how this sounds.
How he describes it. Even he gives them identities,
right?
Like they're all different identities.
Well, even
that he connects himself.
But
to.
Even to get to that point, he had to first let in these ideas, and then when he's struggling with them, right? Because, well, you have to realize, well, this isn't working. But how do you do it? You have to compartmentalize, right? Because you can, well, it's not working because this isn't who I am now, but I can become this person for this thing.
Yeah.
And then I can become this person for this thing.
So you literally disassociate. That's what DID is.
Yeah.
And people in trauma do that all the time to be able to cope.
And you think like when you're letting in wrong ideas, you're literally putting yourself through trauma. When you're letting in hurtful and very harmful ideas, and then you're acting these things out, you're literally going through trauma in your life.
Wow.
Each had our own different talents, skills, even disabilities. Like, for example, like I wear glasses, right? Where there was a time where I had 20/20 vision, but then there were days where if I was someone else, I wouldn't have 20/20 vision. And I'm saying I as like the entire system, but at this point in time, I truly was multiple persons in one brain. And I had felt also, it had always felt weird.
That is a phenomenon that they have discovered with this dissociative identity disorder, where people can have different personalities that have different attributes, different disabilities, different, like, and it's crazy. They can't explain it. That's how strong the delusion can be. That's how the mind can fracture in those ways.
To me, when people called me young man, and I thought maybe it's because I'm a boy, like I'm a little boy. When I was 12, the first time people called me young man, but then I was actually a young man. Every time people called me a man, it just felt strange to me, like that's not who I was. I had thought that it was because I was non-binary, and so I identified as non-binary for a long time. Like I remember the first time I was laying down with one of my nesting partners at the time, I was like, I don't feel like I'm a man. She was like, so do you think you're a woman? And I was like, that's what's even harder about it. I don't feel like I'm a woman either. Like I don't feel like I'm a man nor a woman.
Wow. And posing with guns and dresses.
But the issue was really on a deeper level, I did not feel human. So yeah, I was non-binary, which to some people is considered transgender, to some people is not considered transgender. I didn't really consider myself a part of the LGBT community, but people made me a part of it, like that, you know, they would consider me a part of the LGBT community. I also started to become, out of nowhere, attracted to trans women because nothing meant anything. Gender didn't mean anything, morality didn't mean anything. You know, everything was a social construct. Relationships were a social construct, marriage was a social construct, gender was a social construct, and I was just a horrible, horrible person.
Wow.
Just the things that I would do, like the lies that I would tell, just to hide the fact that, just to hide my lust, to hide the shame. And it was because I had like this capacity to love multiple people. I saw people as part of who I was. And so I was able to love people deeply. But I would love people so deeply that it's like I psyched myself. It's like, I can't tell this person the truth that I love this other person as well because it's going to hurt them. And even when I was polyamorous, it's like, okay, I told these two people that it's just going to be them, but now I have feelings for someone else and I have to say that to them. And I care about their feelings, which was delusional because no, it's not that it's selfish. You're not hiding the truth from someone because you care about them. You're hiding the truth because you care about your image and how you appear. And you want those people to continue to behave and love you in the same way now as if it were just you versus than if it were just you and someone else. You don't want them to decide that, maybe I'm going to go look for somebody else. And in your mind, when you say, yeah, I'm going to be polyamorous, completely open, and everybody can see everybody. If y'all want to date other people, you have to date other people. Truly, it's because you think you're relinquishing control, but really, that is your way of having control. Because in that way, you compartmentalize in a way, so if they go with somebody else, it's like, oh, well, that's okay. They're free to do that, as if you're giving them permission to leave you. And so since you're holding the door open, when someone walks out of your life, that sense of abandonment, that's the way you cope with that sense of abandonment. It's not that you're actually giving someone control out of you being selfless because you love better than monogamous people.
It's like, you see that in a lot of like relationships, especially I see women do this a lot too, where it's like to give themselves the illusion of some control, they will essentially sabotage the relationship if they feel like, you know, if they feel like they're too into it, or if they feel like, you know, they don't feel controlled, so then they'll sabotage it, or they'll break things off, or you know, something to get that sense of control back. You know what I mean? In a weird way.
Yeah.
Just because you have so much love to give that you just want to love everyone, but then you're out here lying still. And then even when I was honest, there was a time where I finally became honest with everyone. Even still, it still became as like, when you're telling someone and you're honest, you still feel guilty, as though something in you is telling you this is wrong. Even though you're consenting to this, I'm consenting to this. We have consensual boundaries.
He's going to get into the boundaries, right? We have consensual boundaries. But see how he says, even though I was honest, I still felt like it's wrong. That's what even in terms of like, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Like, you still have to reconcile the trespass.
Right.
You still have to establish the actual boundary, not the boundary you want to make, right? And I think like, even in terms of like a marriage, and if I want to be faithful to my wife, I can't be faithful in the way I want to be faithful, right? If I want to love my wife, I can't love my wife the way I want to love her.
Right.
Right? Cuz a lot of times I'm going to cause a lot of hurt, a lot of pain.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you love me the way I'm going to love you the way I want to love you. You love me the way you want to love me. It's like, that's not going to work.
That's what love language is, though, right?
Well, it's the opposite. I'll love you the way you want to be loved.
You need to love me the way I want to be loved, and I need to love you the way you want to be loved. Yeah,
right.
That's what love language.
That's what love language is. Yeah, but it's not about that. It's really about like, because a lot of times we want to be loved in a way we want, but it's not what we really need, right? So when you have God and you put God as that forefront thing, now He changes things, and He gives you the ability to love in a way that it's needed for your spouse, right, and He opens you up to things in a way because you have a standard, you have a place of grounding, right? But when you're just doing it yourself, you're always gonna miss it. You're always gonna have issues that come up, and you're always gonna have these boundaries that you think you want to put in place, right? But then you don't hold to those boundaries because they don't work for certain things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense here. So so there's no consistency. And this is like a greater level of how that plays out, because they're setting these boundaries of, well, you can do whatever you want. You can see whoever you want. I can see whoever I want. And they're saying this, but it's still going to do damage.
Right.
It's going to cause hurt.
Right.
This is still wrong. Just because someone consents to something, just because someone says it's okay for you to slap them or throw them off a cliff, it doesn't mean that it's okay. There's only one person that declares what is righteous and what is not righteous. It's not this anarchistic, democratic society where everyone decides what's wrong and what's right. That's not the way kingdom works. It's a kingdom. It's not a democracy. And there's a head of a kingdom. There's not no we get to inject our uneducated opinions on righteousness and it automatically makes something righteous. This is why what's right and what's wrong, in a sense, my philosophy at that time was true. There is no right and wrong. In the wisdom of the world and the righteousness of man, there is no right or wrong. Because if you're telling me now that no one should be able to tell me, no one should be able to stifle my pursuit of happiness, what if my pursuit of happiness is murder?
Right.
You're going to put a boundary on that.
Or pedophilia.
You can't compare that to, who you want to marry or... There's a boundary for everything. There's a boundary for who you can have sex with, when you can have sex with them, where you can have sex with them. Two consenting adults can't just go out into the street and have sex. That's against the law. Why is it against the law? Is it just like, oh, that's just a law, it doesn't mean anything as long as no one catches you? Things are put into place for certain reasons, and yes, there are just laws and there are unjust laws in the world, but we have to think about the fact that there are boundaries. People will take pleasure and say, just because it's my pleasure, it's because it's what makes me happy, that's okay.
That's what do with
that
that
everyone
will
should just
is.
respect that.
That's the philosophy he was dabbling into with the Satanism, with the Aleister Crowley teaching, do what thou wilt.
I want to be happy, and no one should have any question as to what makes me happy. When really I could think it's making me happy, but it's making me sick.
But
McDonald's again.
The whole of that is do as thou wilt is the whole of the law.
Yeah.
And it's love under will. So love, you love the way you will, right?
Right.
That's the point.
Right.
So your expression of love is how and that's what I said before. I'm gonna love my wife the way I want to love my wife.
But what that does is that seats you in the place of God.
Yeah. Because what are you doing? You're trusting yourself.
Yeah.
You're not like, and so now connected to, okay, faithfulness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so how could I be faithful to my wife? Who am I trusting in?
Yeah.
I'm trusting in myself.
Right.
So if I trust in myself, because the beginning of faithfulness is faith, right?
Mhm.
It's trust.
Right.
But the problem is, how do I learn how to be faithful? I need somebody who was faithful before me.
Yeah.
I need an example.
Need an example.
Who's our example? Jesus is our
Yeah.
example.
Right.
Right? God is our example. God is faithful. Because
Mhm.
God is faithful, now I have access to trust him to then step into his faithfulness.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So now I can be faithful. I have a standard.
Right.
If I don't have that standard, now I'm just going to say, oh, I'm faithful. Well, where do you get faithful from?
Right.
Where do you get the standard from?
Mm-hmm.
But you see how the difference is between the Lord Jesus Christ and his love, faithfulness, and everything. Then you see this guy, how he started with a little bit of stuff, evil, right? But the enemy perverted it to more and more and
Mhm.
more and more until he knew, though, because of God, that God was going to get him out of that because inside of him, he still had good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think he was going to kill himself. That doesn't say that like on this video, but
Right.
I think he got to that point where he wanted to kill himself.
Because what is the ultimate? If when you this way of thinking, the ultimate end point of that, if nothing matters, if there's no point of anything, if there's no right and wrong, there's like whatever you want to do is what you want to is what matters. The ultimate end of that is that why am I even trying?
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing will fulfill me. Nothing will make me happy at the end of the day.
Not only that, like think about the people you're going to hurt.
Yeah.
And think about the people you're going to hurt that aren't healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And those people who you're going to hurt, they want to get you back.
Yeah.
So now they're going to think about wicked ways to get you back,
Mhm.
right? You've hurt people, they've hurt you, whatever. So now there's just this web of wickedness, right?
Mhm.
So now it
becomes torture.
increased.
Yeah.
Because people want to hurt each other.
Yeah.
Hurt people,
Right,
right?
right.
This whole thing.
Right.
Because if I go put a needle in my arm and get high, it's making me happy in that moment. That's what I think. That is my ceiling for happiness. Does that mean somebody else can't come to me and say, look, there's a better way, there's a higher path than this? There's true righteousness, there's a true freedom from all the pain that you're feeling right now that you're trying to escape? There's a true freedom and his name is Jesus?
Okay. Yeah, man, that's an interesting story. I got to go watch that whole thing.
Yeah,
you were telling
it's
me about
nice.
that. I remember.
What is that, interview or that?
No, he just put that up online, like just to tell the story,
Wow.
just to tell his testimony about where he talked about church hurt. He talked about how he grew up in church and dealing with church hurt, then getting into these relationships. He struggled with pornography. That was the start of it,
Mhm.
right? That's how he kind of started in that was
Mhm.
the pornography.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get to the point where like where he was, how bad it got,
Mhm.
and his thinking,
Yeah.
how he let all these ideas into his mind,
Mhm.
right? And took all these things in, thinking that they were going to serve him,
Mhm.
right? And we got to think in that way, like these. I said earlier, our weapons of warfare.
Mhm.
They're not carnal in turn. They're not, but so ours. It's a mental thing, right? So
Yeah.
what are you arming yourself with?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could be arming yourself with things that are you think are gonna defend yourself, but you actually
Gonna destroy yourself.
You're gonna
yeah.
destroy yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
All in the mind.
Yep.
It's all in the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That was good stuff, man. Oh, we got like 2 more little shorts that you sent me. We'll watch those real quick and then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
So this one is, I don't know what this is about, but let me reload it. Oh, I see my screen is frozen again. I don't know why. It's got to be the signal down here.
That's why the Bible is so important.
A couple questions.
You know, it says that to think on these things that are holy, pure, true, just, and of good report, and cast down imaginations that exalts itself above the word of God. It's so important because, man, the enemy's going to try to deceive you and do these things and cause you to. I mean, that man tried everything.
Yep.
He did everything.
Yeah. He didn't try to be a Jehovah's Witness, though.
All right, let's play this.
For my old employers, boys at The Sun, Men Online, Fox News, BBC, LBC, on excess deaths. Where are you? And who is paying for your silence? It's in the Lancet in black and white. Men Online, Martin, these are the headlines that we used to eat up for breakfast. It's screaming out. Excess deaths in England alone are higher than at any time in 5 years, and then way back in history. Just print the graph. It screams out that people are dying off inexplicably. First 6 months of 2023, 28,000 excess deaths, more deaths than would be expected, particularly in young and middle-aged males. And the main cause of death, written here in the Lancet in black and white, don't take my word for it, is heart conditions. 47% unexplained, inexplicable heart conditions. And you know, in the 50 to 64 age group, just in a 13-month period, after COVID, after the pandemic, heart diseases, 44% higher. 44% higher, and still you're not talking about it. And these people are dying in their homes because they didn't know they were ill or sick, and they didn't know something malevolent in their system was going to kill them.
Well, this is why they're not talking about it, because we talked about this, I think, a couple weeks ago. I showed you how they were trying to they're trying to create the narrative around it first before they talk about it, because they can't just bring up these excess deaths. They have to have a reason for it set up already. So they've changed the died suddenly language into medical emergency, and they've also started to inject the idea of this long COVID thing, where it's like all of these people are dying because they've had COVID, a long COVID issue this entire time and didn't know it, and this caused heart problems. This is where they're going with this.
So again, what are we seeing? We're seeing setup language.
Yeah.
We're seeing ways, and this is how they do it. They set up ways of speaking.
Yeah.
So that to you it's vague.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't make sense. And then you just go with, long COVID. What's that?
I don't understand it, but the doctor said, I don't understand it, but the experts are telling us it's long COVID. So when someone like us who have been paying attention the whole time are like, yo, look at all these people dying, excess deaths are through the roof. No, but that's because of long COVID. Like this is a new thing that that's what the ladies on The View are going to be saying when they get questioned on it. No, that's because of long COVID, and they've done the studies on this, and that's what they're going to do.
But again,
Whoopi's voice.
Yeah, that was
if you can't, there's all again. If you can't question it and break it down, something's going on.
Yeah.
If you can't say, okay, where's that come from?
Right.
Explain long COVID to me.
Yeah.
They don't have real answers for these things, right? But who's going to ask those questions?
Yeah.
They're not going to get themselves into positions to be asked those questions.
Right. I've been seeing so many videos of them pulling those fibrous clots from people still to this day. Like, it's crazy. And they're huge now. Like, we had someone in our age group just die of a heart attack. Not saying nothing, but
that's what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So, all right, we got one more clip here.
And this one, I think the one that you have, this is about language again. This is about the language that they're trying to set up, right?
Beware of new language, guys.
You guys want to see the play they're going to try to run on Christians for the next year to try to gaslight you into thinking that it's wrong for Christians to vote for Christian ethics? Check this out.
There's many different groups orbiting Trump, but the thing that unites them as Christian nationalists, not Christians, by the way, because Christian nationalists is very different, is that they believe that our rights as Americans, as all human beings, don't come from any earthly authority. They don't come from Congress. They don't come from the Supreme Court. They come from God.
Okay, we got a problem. Because number one, the idea that rights don't come from governments, they come from God, that's not Christian nationalism. That's this little thing called the Declaration of Independence.
That's called the
first
Founding
line of which
Fathers.
says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights. Number two, if a government gives you rights, a government can take them away. Y'all, Christian nationalism is a scare label whose subtext is, we progressives can advocate for our values in the public square, but you Christians can't advocate for yours. Very frankly, if you're a Christian who's voting or advocating for God's values in the public square and somebody calls you a, quote, Christian nationalist, 99.999% of the time you just need to say, yep, I'm a Christian and I love my nation.
Yeah. Always those labels, always that language. They're trying to frame it in a way where they can stop you from speaking, where people will stop listening to you because they can just put that label on you. Oh, you're a Christian nationalist. No further attention needed.
Yep. Exactly.
Does that even mean?
but they're doing a documentary on this.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy's name, but he's like, I know he used to be on Curb Your Enthusiasm a bunch of times. He does a bunch of like documentaries.
Okay.
But he's doing a Christian nationalist documentary.
Wow.
You talking about the comedian? The black dude?
No way. JB Smooth?
JB
Yeah,
Smooth.
right. He ain't doing no documentary.
It's the chubby guy with the beard. He's like Jewish guy. I
don't know.
Anyway, I can't remember his name.
He's the one that plays like Larry David's best friend?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name though. Yeah. He's got like the higher voice. He talks like he's got the higher pitched like voice in the back of his throat. Yeah.
But he's doing that documentary. I think he's like a producer on it.
Okay.
Or something. But so we're seeing these things. So one side you see the long COVID, right?
Yeah.
They're giving it something. They're labeling it, right?
Yeah.
This that's Christian national.
Yeah. MAGA Republicans
Again,
is another one.
What has happened? And we talked about this with music.
Yeah.
How everything has become labeled, right? Because everything has in America, because things are so I'm trying to think of the right word. Marketed to, or I was commoditized. Commoditized.
Yeah.
I guess that's how you say it.
Yeah.
It causes us to see things as commodities.
Right.
It causes us to see things as packages, right? As brands, as markets in that way. When like music is just music, you don't have to label it in the way that because
it's funny because when we were in Jamaica, just real quick, when we were in Jamaica, we were sitting on the side of the stage during waiting to go on stage, and that band was on stage before us. And Dave goes to me and he comes up and he's like, "Man, you see, like only in America do we put music in a box. Like listen to all the genres they just spanned while they were on stage.
Yeah.
All of the different music they did. They did worship music. They did R&B music. They did pop music. They did country music. One band in front of a crowd in Jamaica, all black people.
Yep.
And they loved every second of it.
Yeah, everything.
It's only here where those labels exist.
Yeah, and it's because again, I think we let money rule, right? And we let media tell us what things are.
Right.
No, this is this is that. And it's just a way like why have things become so packaged? It's all for selling. It's all for selling.
Yeah.
Right? It's all for marketing.
Yep.
It's all for selling. And when we take that back and we say, this is a problem.
Yeah.
Like maybe we have been marketed too much.
Yeah.
You know? Because again, when you go to we've been to those countries, South Africa too.
Yeah.
Like you go to countries where yeah, there's marketing. I'm not saying there's not, but when it's not the same, it's not like America is the most marketed to country in the world.
Right.
So they don't see things the same way as we see them, right?
Yeah.
If they like it, they like it. Oh, I like that music. But for us, it's like it becomes a part of your identity. They want to make it a part of your identity.
Yep.
Oh, I'm this. I'm a Trumper.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Or they'll just label you. You're a Trumper.
Yeah.
You're a Trumper.
MAGA Republican.
Yeah. You know, I'm
Another label.
Yeah.
Look at all the labels we had in school. Like, oh, they're the jocks,
the
they're
nerds, the geeks, the goths, and
then you start taking those things on.
Yeah.
And then you start listening to certain types of music because you take those things on, right? Like even in terms of, oh, I'm black, so I'm gonna listen to this type of music. I gotta do this kind of stuff.
I gotta be in the cipher.
Yeah. And then and then it's like, what? Oh, you're not black.
Right.
You ain't black.
Right.
Why?
Because why you act white?
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
Because I don't speak a certain way.
Yeah.
But then the white guy's there and it's like, he's sitting there, why you acting white? And then the white guy's there, he's listening to rap. Like, it doesn't even make any sense, really. But we put ourselves in these boxes.
Yo, did the Facebook get blocked again?
Did it?
No, really?
I just got a notification saying that your live stream has been blocked due to copyright or something.
What did we put? What did we do?
I guess something we played had music in it. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. If you're watching on Facebook still, there's a few people on there. Let us know if you can see this. Shout out to Lynette Jackson who chimed in and said hello.
This Jeff Garland, you talking about this guy?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
No, that's not him. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's not him.
That's the guy I was talking about.
That is the guy though. I got them mixed up.
Okay. You thinking of Michael Moore?
Different.
Is it Michael
No,
Moore?
it's not Michael
okay.
Moore.
Michael Moore does.
Because he does all the documentaries.
It's a different.
Okay,
Chubby Jew guy.
Theris is
Another
still
chubby-
watching. We're
chubby
good.
guy.
Theris has said hello. Oh, Emma said hello. All right, cool. Y'all still watching. Appreciate you.
So we see. I think like even in terms of Generation Z,
Yeah.
we're seeing the disdain for being marketed to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
We're starting to see that pushback.
Yeah.
Right. Like even in terms of like the reels,
Yeah.
and they're trying to make it look more genuine, right?
Right.
Like,
They try to advertise to you without advertising to
Yeah.
you. Make it look like someone's just making a video.
yeah, right.
Because that Gen Z, they hate ads.
Mm-hmm.
They hate ads. Like we came up in the generation where every 20
Commercials.
what is it? Every 15 minutes, a 30-minute show, every 10 minutes there was a 2-minute commercial, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you used to those breaks. You get used to that format where you're like, okay, 2 minutes of commercials every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
For them to skip past a little 15-second video on YouTube is like, another ad. You know what I mean?
And I noticed, like, for us, like, I'll just go back to music for a little bit. Like, growing up with dad as a musician in the house and him exposing us to a lot of music, mom with a lot of lap music, worship music, and then even John, like, so this Irish American guy.
What kind of? Can't even picture what kind of music he would listen to. What did he listen to?
Listen to like.
I feel like he would listen to sports radio all the time.
No, he listened to like, 80s.
That was
Bon Jovi.
That was my. I don't. Did he listen to Bon Jovi?
Yeah, he listens to.
It's not.
I remember he used to make fun of all the stuff we listened to all the time.
Right, but
and I got to point out that was mom's Michael Bolton era. That was Michael Bolton, Gloria Estefan era. Coming out of the dark.
Yeah.
Finally see the
You were
light.
Michael Bolton. But again, we grew up with a lot of different music, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't have that like. No, we listened to this.
Yeah.
This was in our house.
We don't listen to that in this house.
Like it was just a bunch. Like even Dad used to say, like to be a good musician, you gotta listen to all kinds of music, right?
Yeah.
So,
but certain music he ain't mess with. He couldn't stand Elvis. He was a staunch Beatles. Like I don't get the Beatles. I don't understand
Yeah.
the hype around the Beatles.
That's true.
You know.
That's true. Which, yeah. So he had his bias,
Yeah.
right? But and I do think, like, even in my knowledge now, like, you can't be listening to all kinds of music
Absolutely,
anyway,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that now. We didn't know that back then. But my point is that we didn't have the same box that as we grew up and we started to experience other people and the pressures of or the peer pressure, right?
Yeah.
You start to think like, oh, I gotta,
and people start jamming
like
you
this kind of
into
music.
boxes. You start getting
you
like,
start thinking you gotta listen to this.
Yeah.
So they like this,
Right.
You know, and then you like girls, and you're trying to figure out what kind of music do they
what do
like,
they like,
you
so
know?
I can impress them. Yeah.
So things start to change.
Yeah.
Right. But my point is that we don't have to take on these labels.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to take on these things.
These
And
identities.
If we just think outside and say, even think like, well, why did I like that? Why do I like this? You know?
Yeah.
Because you can take, okay, I like this beat.
Right.
But these words, I'm not with these words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I wasn't even thinking when I was singing these songs when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, if I just go back, I hear a song like, oh, that's my jam. I used to love that song. And I'm not like listening now. You know what I mean? Not like thinking like, I shouldn't have been listening to this.
What is this about?
Why? Like,
you brought that up with the DMX song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You like, this was my joint. What song was it? Y'all
on this-
gonna make me lose my mind.
Yeah.
Up in, like, what is he talking?
Yeah.
He's talking about being unhinged.
Yeah. I'm on the stepper in the gym, like, oh, this is my.
Yeah.
And then I'm listening to it.
Yeah.
Wait a
Y'all gonna
minute.
make me act a fool up in
He's
here.
barking
up
like
in
a
here.
dog. He's calling himself a dog.
Yeah.
Like, something
Yeah.
ain't right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I agree, and I think we have to get away from that mentality. And it's crazy because you're talking about that. Like we started to realize that you want to then take on these labels to fit in, and then it's almost like the full manifestation of that has been what we've seen over the last 10 years, where it's like they want every label there is. It's like, what label can I attach to myself?
Yeah.
Because that makes me more fit in. Like, I'm a neurodivergent, non-binary, frog gendered, super space cat. You know what I mean? It's like they want every label they can find, because that makes them unique now.
Yeah.
Because the more labels I have makes me different than you now. You know.
And how do you combat against that? You have to, it's security. Because the thing, like peer pressure, the thing about peer pressure is it's fear based, right?
Right.
It's intimidation, right? When you look at it. And then the person who's receiving that pressure is gonna,
they want relief.
They're gonna fold
Yeah.
to fear,
Mhm.
right? And then, like you said, they want relief. So how do I get relief? I have to succumb.
Yeah.
I have to compromise.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes I don't even know what I'm compromising to. We were talking about that, like, I think the last podcast we were talking about, like, this whole teen thing that's in a lot
Teen
of
angst.
movies.
Yeah.
Teen angst,
Yeah.
where you're doing stuff and you don't even realize you're, like, in the movies,
Right.
everybody's doing a thing that they don't even know why they're doing the thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But it's what we do as teens to fit in and not feel like a social pariah, because, and you know, high school is a cesspool of that, because it builds all of these different hierarchies and these different social groups that you have to find your way and navigate through.
Right.
You know.
But so if we can secure people back, like now, like if I can talk to my kids at an earlier age,
Yeah.
and challenge them now, I can set the basis when they get older. So now I'm like, okay, well, why would you do that? Why are you saying that?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
Right.
So now I'm challenging them
Right.
to, like, understand that if you just do something and you don't know where it comes from, then you can be duped.
Yeah.
Do you want to be duped?
Right.
Do you want to just do something because it sounds good?
Yeah.
Because it sounds cool? Like, because now you have no basis for what you're doing.
Right.
And if you have no basis for what you're doing, then you can do something else where you have no basis for what you're doing. So that, but what are we teaching them? We're teaching them, you gotta everything that you do has to be grounded, right? And that creates security, creates safety.
Yeah.
That's what God does for us. We find things on the rock. And when we learn that now, I'm realizing that with my kids, like little by little, I'm seeing it in them. They don't have to succumb to the fear because they're secure.
Right.
They're good.
So that angst doesn't appear.
Right. And when it does,
right,
you can nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
You can challenge it.
And they'll bring it to you now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the cool
So we
thing.
can change that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And settle them, make them feel grounded again.
Right.
Yeah. Dope. All right, man, let's wrap it up there. Thank you guys for watching. It's been a great little show tonight. We appreciate everybody who stuck with us on all the platforms. Shout out to the comments that were coming in on with Instagram and everything. But yeah, we appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you want to support what we do, support what we're talking about, you can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/youngliontv. Become a member over there for as little as $3 a month. You can support this and help us continue this live stream growing and get the community of the Young Lions to continue to expand and create this community that we're trying to change culture with. Also, we have a show coming up on Thursday night. If you're in the Philly, Jersey area, Delaware, it is at the City Winery in Philadelphia. We're going to be doing a great show. We've been prepping for it all month. We're ready to go. So get your tickets. There's a few left. We'll see you over there. For all the people that are coming to the show, I know Emma, Jeff, Courtney, Theris, all the people that we've been seeing in the chat. They are coming. So we'll see you guys there. James will be there. Also, if you want to get merch, we didn't mention this at the beginning of the show. If you want to get the hats, the t-shirts, the hoodies, all that stuff, it's all on the description. Has the link to our merch store where all that stuff is available, so you can rep the pride of the Young Lions everywhere you go. And thank you guys for the conversation. Thank you, Mom, for producing. We appreciate you. We love you. And everybody else, we will see you next time. Peace.
Young Lion, go live, yeah. Young Lion, you rich, yeah. This king of